Hey folks, this is cobradvs, and this is a new series that I'm going to be starting called The Best Games You've Never Played. Basically, this series will be me featuring 3 games that I feel are underrated and don't get the recognition that they deserve. And I'll give a short review of each. This is the first episode, so I figured I would include this just so you know what the series is about. So without further ado, enjoy. Growing up, there was a Rastan arcade machine at the local bowling alley. I remember seeing it there and being reminded of Conan the Barbarian. I popped in a few quarters every once in a while, and while I enjoyed the game, I would have rather played the Lost World Jurassic Park, or Phoenix, or other available arcade games. But when I bought my Master System for the first time, Rastan was the first game I bought hoping to relive the memory of playing it in the arcade. While the graphics are nowhere close to the arcade version, Rastan on the Master System is still a fun action platformer. Your goal is to slay the dragon at the end of the game, however, a few levels and a ton of enemies lay in your path. Some things have been changed for the Master System port of Rastan, but it still retains the overall feel of the arcade version. On a system that was overlooked when it came out, it's easy for Rastan to slip under the radar, but it's a cheap game and I would certainly recommend giving it a try in your Master System. Or, if you're lucky enough, give the arcade version a try. Just stay away from Rastan Saga 2 on Genesis because I've heard it's crap. Fire and Ice is a prequel to another NES game that doesn't get enough recognition, Solomon's Key. Both are puzzle games, and if you know anything about puzzle game sequels, it's hard to make one that isn't just a rehash of the first game. Tetris 2, for example, did an okay job, but all it did was make me want to play the original Tetris. Fire and Ice, however, is an excellent example of how to properly make a puzzle game sequel. It has the feeling of the first, but with fresh gameplay and different puzzle mechanics. Released in 1993 and developed by Tecmo, Fire and Ice cast you as the same character from Solomon's Key, Dana. The goal of each level is to get rid of all the flames by hitting them with blocks of ice, an original idea if I've ever heard one. Dana has the ability to create ice blocks, but only on the floor below him. In other words, only on the floor that you're standing on, which gives the game its unique puzzle aspect, as you'll have to figure out where to place blocks, which blocks to destroy, and where to move the others. There is a boss level every 10 levels that is more of a time trial than anything else, but it does break up the monotony of the normal puzzle levels. But what makes Fire and Ice not only a great puzzle game, but an excellent game in general, is the feeling you get when you play it. For me, it goes something like this. A level starts, I'll quickly try a few strategies to see if I have any luck, but most of the time I don't. Then I sit there with my eyes squinted, studying the screen, thinking of any possible way to put out the flames. It's a thinking man's game at its finest. On a quick note, yes, the game does have a password system, so that's good news since there are around 100 levels. To sum up my thoughts on this game, I'll read exactly what it says on the front of the box. This cartridge contains logic puzzles that may be highly addictive. Caution and restraint are recommended. Aliens Infestation is a game that pretty much slipped under the radar for most people. In fact, I don't even remember where I heard of the game. All I know is I bought it on the very same day it was released. It was marketed sort of as the little sibling to the upcoming Aliens Colonial Marines for consoles and PC. There are 2 problems with that, though. First, this game came out 2 years before Colonial Marines did, and second, it's 10 times better. Developed by Way Forward, the guys who brought you Contra 4 and Mighty Switch Force, and published by Sega, Infestation is what you would get if you mixed a Metroidvania-style game with Contra. Considering Contra was inspired heavily by Alien, it seems fitting to now have Alien borrow from Contra. Granted, Infestation doesn't have the fast-paced action that Contra does. Instead, it's more of a slow-paced and sometimes tense shooter. Infestation is also unique in that once a character dies, that's all for him or her. You'll have to play as another character. You can have 4 in your squad at any time, but you only play as 1, while the other 3 wait in the save room. What's interesting, though, is that these are not just throwaway characters. Each has a distinct look and personality, and it really makes you want to last as long with a single character as you can. It's fun to try and beat the game playing as only one character, by the way. However, Infestation isn't perfect. The controls can take a little bit of getting used to, and in the beginning, your gun is fairly weak. Upon finding upgrades and different weapons like the shotgun or flamethrower, the combat does become easier and more fun. The game isn't particularly long either. You'll explore a few areas outside the main gameplay area, But these areas only act as a way to receive new keys or tools that just allow for more exploration in the main area. Still, despite its flaws, Infestation has heart, and it's a lot of fun. Both of these things are more than can be said for its big brother, Aliens Colonial Marines. Pick up this gem if you ever see it. It's pretty cheap and worth every penny.